I'm Paul Perkins with the check of your ag weather. After seasonal highs in the mid-80s to around 90 today, highs quickly return to the 90s for tomorrow. The haze of smoke from Canadian wildfires may last into early tomorrow. The forecast stays dry the next 7 days, possibly longer, due to a ridge of high pressure building onto the plains from the desert southwest and a cap of warm temperatures at the higher levels. For the weekend through Wednesday, the high-pressure ridge moves overhead for a prolonged stretch of highs in the upper 90s to the low 100s, including near-record high levels this weekend. Heat index ratings of 100 to 105 are likely for the weekend through Wednesday. Saturday of most concern with widespread feels-like readings of 105 or greater and some fairly light winds. Most other days, lower humidity and a steady breeze look to offset the effects of the heat. There are signs the high-pressure ridge starts to flatten by late next week, allowing for some cooling and some light rain chances. The long-term forecast calls for warmer than normal temperatures to continue for Nebraska and Kansas Tuesday through August 30th, especially the middle portion of next week. Below normal rainfall is predicted in the middle of next week for Nebraska and Kansas, before near normal to slightly above normal rainfall next weekend through August 30th. Checking the regional drought monitor, Nebraska increased 3 percentage points to 30% drought-free. Drought-free to abnormally dry locations include the southwest, west central, panhandle, and far north central Nebraska. Most of central and eastern Nebraska remain in moderate to severe drought. Extreme to exceptional drought remains at 15% of Nebraska and is in an area along and east of a line from Wayne to Fullerton, Grand Island, Hastings, and Superior. Kansas increased 3 percentage points to 16% drought-free. It remains drought-free to abnormally dry along the Kansas-Colorado border, the far southwest and south central, and parts of the northeast. Kansas is mostly in moderate to severe drought. Extreme to exceptional drought coverage dropped 12 percentage points to 18% of Kansas, still including areas from Stockton to Beloit down to Hayes and Ellsworth, also south central locations to the south of I-70. Checking other nearby states, drought-free levels are at 100% of Wyoming, 72% of Colorado, and 71% of South Dakota at drought-free. Key weather factors affecting the markets include hotter and drier weather for the central U.S. and heat in Europe. A punishing heat wave grips much of the south and the nation's midsection, including the western Corn Belt, where temperatures approaching or reaching 100 could adversely affect summer crops in the filling stage. Very little rain accompanies the late summer heat. Daily rains across Florida's peninsula should lead to 5-day rainfall of 2 to 6 inches, possibly some locally higher amounts. Early next week, the interaction between lingering tropical moisture from the remnants of Hurricane Hilary and a Pacific cold front could result in locally heavy rain spreading as far north as the northern Rockies and the northern plains. Eastern Pacific Hurricane Hilary has a chance to bring significant rainfall and wind-related impacts to Southern California, the Southern Great Basin, and the desert southwest this weekend and early next week. The storm becomes a post-tropical cyclone and rapidly weakens after making landfall in northwestern Mexico or Southern California. Early estimates indicate that rainfall could total 5 to 10 inches in areas that typically only receive a few inches of rain per year. European temperatures remain warm to hot through most of next week. Most of Europe, though, still has good soil moisture from recent rains, and conditions should stay favorable for corn and summer grain growth. I'm Paul Perkins. That's a check of your ag weather.